Viewing.
You rolling?
Sure.
Oh, you are rolling. The most satisfying interview is the one in which you believe that you have gotten the interviewee to forget all about the mechanics. And people simply begin to talk one to the other. You've now forgotten in the studio, the technicians, the other people there, the lights, the cameras, and you're simply talking. The good interviewer, in my estimation, is the one who can do that effectively.
And you feel satisfied just feeling that chemistry?
Right. Whether it's a personality profile, or whether it's a tough informational interview, or whether it's an expositional interview, what you're doing is getting to the essence of the person to whom you're talking. Whether you're getting the truth or not, I mean, you'd like to believe that you're getting the truth, but you're never really getting the whole truth. I'm not suggesting that you plumb the psyche, really, of any individual that way. And frequently you'll do more than one interview, as I think I did with, no, I only did an hour and a half with the Ayatollah.
At the time the hostages were taken over in Tehran, the producer that I was working with at the time, a fellow by the name of Barry Lando, and I had done a fair number of pieces about the Shah and his family. And then, when it looked as though the revolution was really going to take hold, we did stories with a man by the name of Sadek Sadek, who was the surrogate son of the Ayatollah Khomeini, also for a while his foreign minister, also for a while his press secretary. And we covered enough of the developing revolution that we won his confidence. And therefore, when the hostages were taken, Barry and I said, hey, what about Khomeini? Who knows? So we made our pitch, and I remember I was in a toxic waste dump in Stockton, California, when somebody came from the CBS bureau out in San Francisco and said, hey, you're going to Tehran. Khomeini has agreed to talk to you. In any case, we got there, and suddenly we were told we were not going to get the interview unless we were to give them the questions ahead of time. But we don't give them the questions ahead of time, I said. Well, under those circumstances, no questions, no interview. Well, after traveling 10,000 miles to get to Tehran, Lando and I said, well, we'd have to announce on the air that we had been asked for and gave the questions ahead of time. Fine with us, just fine.
So were you afraid to interview him? I mean, what if you embarrassed him and he decided to behead you or something like that?
Yeah.
He wouldn't do that.
I don't think that he was going to behead.
Because you're Mike Wallace.
No. Because he's the Ayatollah. And a mere American journalist, that's not all that important. Truly.
He came in, the Ayatollah came in, and I stood up and said, Imam? Paid no attention to me, swept past me, sat down over there, and waited for me to sit down over here. And there was an, a translator in between us.
And he successfully avoided, I mean, he used my questions as springboard for propaganda answers, which some people will do, and there's very little you can do about it.
You can't prevent that.
You cannot prevent it.
Except if you have enough research, I guess, you can counter them. Or
I had research, obviously, but he was the Ayatollah, and he understood very well. He's a very, very intelligent man.
Finally, I figured, what the heck? What's he going to do if I ask a question which hasn't been okayed ahead of time? I'd be a hostage. It'd be a hell of a story. So I said, I remember it so well. Forgive me, Imam, but Anwar Sadat says you are a lunatic. I swear to you. And the translator looks over at me as much as to say, I'll tell you who the lunatic is. You're the lunatic if you think I'm going to translate that for the... I said, no. I heard it on American television. Anwar Sadat says that you're a lunatic.
That's the only time he showed really any emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of getting angry, he smiled. He's a man very much in charge of himself. And he batted Sadat away like a fly. People don't, well, some people get angry, and it's interesting to see a flash of anger, or a flash of humor, or a flash of tenderness, or a flash of whatever, if you can reach the person's heart.
And that's when you really see them on the screen.
That's when you feel that you see them.
But that probably was one of the most satisfying interviews in a strange way, because you're in the middle of a story. It's like when Barbara Walters and Walter Cronkite were competing to talk to Begin and Sadat at the same time. Every once in a while you come across one like that, and you say to yourself, well, this really was fun. And that basically is what the last 35, 40 years has been.